don't watch new movies anymore, man. And it's not because I hate movies with a strong female hero, because this one probably has the best strong female hero out of all the movies on this channel. And it's not because they make movies with practical effects or they make it with CG or I, because I'm fine either way as long as it's good. And it's not because James Cameron is a mama's boy, and he absolutely is, by the way. One day, they just put together a bunch of people and a script and an idea, the Alien movie, a horror set in science fiction. And they're like, let's just remake this and then call it a sequel. And it is awesome. So what is Aliens? Well, it was the sequel, which they made because the first one made a shit ton of money and they want to make more money. But they did something novel with this one, and it's the takeaway for this. The first one was a horror movie science fiction mashup. For the sequel, they decided to remake the movie, but they did it in a different style. So if Alien was Halloween, Aliens was Rambo 2. And it was awesome. James Cameron just woke up one day and decided to make the greatest film during the age when the greatest films ever were being made. Few people get $18 million to make it, by the way, and that's right. They made one of the most visually stunning science fiction films in the history of film, and they made it on the cheap. And oh boy, did it pay off. 10 times box office returns, and probably $1 billion in VHS sales and syndication alone. And there is a reason why these movies are not coming back anymore. And it's not that we can't do it again, it's that we forgot how.
Warrant Officer E. Ripley, said license is hereby suspended indefinitely. Now, no criminal charges will be filed against you at this time, and you are released on your own recognizance. These proceedings are closed.
Get away from her, you bitch!
Do you like aliens? Do you like space marines? Do you love a strong female protagonist who could smile a little more? How about a film that gives you evil, slimy corporate guys doing evil guy corporate stuff because money? Well, I have the movie for you. Stories. Simple stories, perfectly told. In a world where communism is a dream of the distant past and of space marines. No, not those space marines.
What the
Boom! It's a movie that takes the premise of a sci-fi movie mashed up with a horror film and breeds it with the Predator, creating something for all ages.
Now what the fuck are we supposed to do?
It's a science fiction masterpiece, it's a horror film masterpiece, it's an action masterpiece. From the director that brought you the film where hippie blue people fight evil corporations to save trees, and the film where a single mom finds love with a robot who will sacrifice himself for her special little boy while not wanting a romantic relationship so he can fight against an evil corporation to save humanity, comes the sci-fi tale of a strong, independent woman who learns that being a mother is more important than working in a loading dock for the rest of her life, while fighting against an evil corporation. It's Aliens, 1986.
Do something!
And I mean, look at it. You got Sigourney Weaver. Super tall. Supermodel. She can act, though. Closest we got for that now is Gal Gadot. Hot? Sure. Tall? Yeah. Can she act? No. We can't put Marines who are quintessential action stars here as the set pieces and to have them set the stakes. We only have millennial snark and diversity theater kids now. You're not allowed to work as a working actor. Thanks, Me Too, or you pinko commie fucks, or Sarah Silverman, or whoever gets the blame on this one. We can't do special effects like these. Everybody who knows how to do a practical effect is retired. They don't know how to do matte paintings anymore. And everybody now, they just know CGI. I mean, it's great. You can make anything. But you'll spend $500 million to get a cheap knockoff version of what some Gen X dudes could do with duct tape, a couple battleship models, and some spray paint. I talk about how syndication killed the mid-budget movie. You know what killed the high-budget movie? Quality control. We embrace people who don't seem to be able to do their job and lean on the talented computer people to make up for it, because special effects are hard and programmers work for cheap. Like, I can't remember what the movie was, but they had an Academy Award for special effects. They just gave it out, and the company that won the award was bankrupt 3 months earlier because of how the industry works. Like, we make Temu sci-fi now, and until we get some people with talent and the funds to make their talent in all the different areas here, this stuff is never coming back. It was directed by James Cameron, and I mean, Terminator, Titanic, Aliens, Avatar. The dude shits money, but he's got a style to him. He's a bit of a feminist mama's boy. Luckily, in the late 80s, he had enough of the right people with him to macho up his work just enough to be awesome. Like, think about it. Terminator 2 was the story of a single mom who found the perfect stepfather for her special little boy. The guy did everything for him and sacrificed and died without even trying to have sex with Connor. Aliens is a movie about a boss babe with a corporate job who couldn't have kids, learning to get over her fears and adopt. The main villain is a squatter who has more kids than she can afford. Titanic was about a chick who was alpha widowed by a homeless man for 50 years. He's a mama's boy. But if you do it right, anything is possible. Anything can be a good movie as long as you execute. It's all in the execution. Aliens is that perfect response to that culture war crap we see today. We don't care about any of it. Critical drinker, shut up. Quartering, shut up. Just so long as they make the movie well, you can show me the story with a strong feminist lead. I'm fine with that. It's about execution. It's not about identity. Also, I have no idea if it's true, but I choose to believe it. Aliens is supposedly in the same world as Blade Runner. The company here is to the Tyrell Corporation what Amazon is to Google. I like that idea. And in Blade Runner, when they talk about replicants and off-world mining, I like to think that's like Bishop in their little mining ships here. But they don't make it extended universe crap. It's just something that's there. You can believe it or not. No autism allowed until the fucking communists decide to. You know what? Pause. You know what? I hate, and I mean, I hate YouTube movie reviews. I hate theater kids. I hate communist kids. I hate my dad kids. I hate guys who love the box sets and they don't bother unwrapping the movie because of the original packaging. And I hate almost every review of this movie. Culture war nerds using it to dunk on Captain Marvel. Nerds talking about the box set and the 4-hour long what is a xenomorph eating for breakfast fan fiction shit. Communists talking about the evils of corporatism. Like, I fucking hate these people. There's one hardcore dude. He's called Cult of Learning, who I actually recommend to people who like this kind of stuff. He approaches this movie in the way a professor approaches math. It's dry, it's boring, it's heavy with detail. I fucking love it. And I say to watch a movie on its own merits. He 100% discusses the merits in minute details. It's just wonderful.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the f*** is that? What is that? You pinko commie!
So the characters. You got Ripley, who's Sigourney Weaver. Pretty solid character arc for a mindless action film, by the way. Turns out she's been in stasis flying abandoned for about 50 years. She lost everybody she's known and loved, and she's become sterile because of the experience. She's got PTSD from the alien attack in the first movie, and she loses her ability to be a mother, so she's got a huge identity crisis. She's also lost her career, her job, because they think she did this on purpose. So she's been given a chance for redemption if she confronts her fear of the alien. And then as she progresses, she finds Newt, a little Australian girl. She learns to be a mother again. She confronts her fears and she saves the day. She has a want and a need. She wants to stop being afraid. She wants to have a normal life, but she needs to save Newt and save the aliens and become a mother. Then you got Burke, Paul Reiser, which was weird. He was always some sitcom dude, so it's so nice he played a piece of shit because Ronnie Cox, who was Dick Jones from RoboCop, or John McGinley, who's the CEO from Highlander 2, they were both busy. Now, he's technically the villain in this one. Like, sure, the aliens are there to kill, but he pretends to be her friend and then tries to get her killed so he can make some money. So he's the prick. The company loves to do shit like this. Remember when I said the sequel was kind of a remake? Then you got Hicks, who's the main... I think he's only a private in this one, but that's Michael Biehn. You remember him from Terminator. He's the love interest for Ripley, but it's kind of reversed. So the romantic role for most people in the movies that I show you here is just sit there, be pretty, sell tickets. But in this case, it's the guy version of that. Be cool, shoot guns. It's a total reversal. Again, very typical of Mr. Mama's Boy. And then you got Bishop. That's Lance Henriksen. He's like Yoda, sort of. He's got no real arc, but it just goes to show that the robots aren't such bad people after all. You got Hudson, who's Bill Paxton, along with Gorman, Vasquez, Sergeant Apone, Drake, Frost, Farrow. They're the generic Marines. They're cocky and they're brash. It's kind of like in Predator, how everybody's a super badass, but then they get turned into bitches once they run into the aliens. It's just like with Predator. It's a way of setting the stakes. It's like having Lieutenant Worf in Star Trek. Like, he exists to be the toughest guy in the crew, so anytime you need to run into a big bad, they always beat up Worf just to show how tough they are. In fact, Worf gets beat up probably 560 times throughout the series. So yeah, it's kind of like that. They got some setups and payoffs. It's usually simple stuff, which I think is great. It's like a Chekhov's gun thing where you see something happen earlier and it foreshadows for later. So for example, Ripley, she feels bored, so she helps out the Marines when they're loading up by running one of the power loaders, big mechanical thing. And then later on with the fight with the Queen, she gets to fight the Queen like one-on-one, so she has it there. So it's nice. You set something up, you pay it off afterwards. Or earlier on where they hint when she freaks out when Bishop's on board because the last time they had an android on board basically tried to kill the crew, and this one's like, oh no, they fixed all that, we don't do that anymore. And then you always have this mystery, will it happen, will it not happen? He ends up saving their lives later. It's a great setup and a great payoff. So yeah, the plot. And look, it's been 40 years, and if I'm spoiling it now, I don't know what to tell you. I'm doing a director's cut, by the way. They added a couple extras, which I think increases the experience. It's maybe not quite as tightly edited as the theatrical version, but I'm fine with it here. You know me, always go for the director's cut. When it starts, they find Ripley's ship from the original. Salvagers find her and bring her to the space station. Ripley runs into a company man called Burke. Burke informs her that she was in stasis for 57 years, so Ripley freaks out, has a fever dream she was infected by an alien. Ripley, though, has to have an inquisition, and they have to find out why'd she lose all of their ships, and Burke lets her know that her daughter died of old age 2 years ago. And I remember the original also had something about the cryosleep made her infertile, so she has a real like crisis of identity moment. I actually kind of think it was better that way. Anyways, so a $42 million ship is lost. And side note, I love how the past doesn't have inflation. Like $42 million doesn't even buy you a house in LA anymore. But there it's like, oh, that's the price of a super special spaceship that mines in like light years away. Whatever. They do some arguing about the alien. The company doesn't exist, thinks she's lying. Ripley gets the audience all the background info, the old ship, the aliens, planet LV-421. The company tells her there's colonists there now, they've been fine for 20 years. So they pull her license, put her on probation, give her a shrink, and move on with their lives. Skip now to the colonists. A girl called Newt and her parents find the alien ship and go check it out. Newt finds a facehugger and freaks the fuck out when her family all gets murdered. Skip back to the station. Burke tries to meet Ripley a few months later with Lieutenant Gorman, and she ain't having it until he mentions that they lost the colony. Burke wants her to come with the Marines as an advisor. She says no, but Burke incentivizes her, saying he can get her flight license back, because she works as a dock worker right now. And she still says no, but she has some constant PTSD flashback, and she decides, I gotta confront my fear, I'm gonna take the job. She just wants to know, like, we're there to kill it, right? And he's like, yeah, of course. Of course they're not. You meet all the Marines when they all get out of cryosleep next scene as they arrive at LV-421. They're all cocky, they're all arrogant, they're all dismissive of Ripley. They also have an android named Bishop on board. Ripley loses her mind because the last android tried to kill her. And everybody who's ever watched this movie remembers the cool knife scene here. Cool knife scene. Anyways, Bishop assures her he's got these Isaac Asimov rules programmed and he's cool now. Next up, she ingratiates herself to the crew by running the robotic loader, and they get ready to check the surface. So when they get down there, they're coming loaded to bear. They find a little girl hiding in the rafters, and they run scanners, and they find out all the people are living near the fusion generator right now. So they go down there to go pick them up, and they find out that everybody was webbed up like spiders whapping whatevers, and aliens start popping out from everywhere. Lots of people die. The Marines freak out. Ripley does what Ripley does. The officer freaks out and doesn't go bring the tank in there to come save him, so she steps up in an action-packed scene of riding the tank, driving over aliens to get them the hell out of there. It's pretty click. It's pretty cool. Burke wants to keep the aliens, but the rest of them decide, nope, we're going to fly out, we're going to nuke this place from orbit, fuck it. But an alien managed to sneak into their escape pod and take out the ship, so that they're stuck on the planet now. So they head back to the colony, and they bunker down, and they have to wait 17 days for a rescue party, while Bishop goes and investigates. They set up some sentry guns, they weld the doors shut, they block themselves in as best they can, then they slow the movie down a bit. And then they wonder, how are these things making all these eggs to take out all these colonists? They infer there must have a queen. New alien, haven't seen it before. The aliens test the defenses out, the sentry's guns run out of ammo, then there's an alert. Turns out the fusion reactor is going to explode tomorrow, so they have 16 hours now instead of 17 days to figure out a plan. So, at a pure desperation, they figure if they sneak all the way up to the communications room in the top of the tower, they can remote a space dropship, a spare one, and get out of there. So Bishop has to pull a Shawshank Redemption through a steel pipe to get there. And I'm claustrophobic as hell. I fucking hate that scene, man. It always freaks me the fuck out. Then the Marines realize there's more aliens looking for weaknesses in the perimeter. So Hicks and Ripley flirt a bit with some weapons. It's cute. Ripley goes to check on Newt, and they're kind of setting her up as like a surrogate child at this point, since, Ripley lost her daughter, and all of these aliens kind of took it away from her in a way. Newt lost her whole family. It's good. Bishop managed to get up to the comms. He gets them working, and he says, okay, the ship's en route. It'll just be a few hours. Newt sleeping under the bed. Ripley decides to join her, all motherly-like, and luckily they were hiding under there because a fake facehugger sneaks into the room, and then they try to escape. But Burke turns off all the cameras. He plans on getting them infected, kills the soldiers on the way back, and then smuggles an alien in for the company to make a fortune. They barely make it out when Ripley sets off the fire alarm. But the Marines are like, yeah, we're going to kill this guy. But before they have a chance, the aliens have found a way in, and they have to tension-building scene. You're going to love it. It's one of the other classic scenes where they're like, where are they coming from? They're inside the room, and they can't find them. Turns out they were hiding up in the rafters, and they managed to sneak in. You have a huge action scene. Burke sneaks out, locks them behind, manages to get eaten, though, so he gets his comeuppance. Hudson ends up dying. Vasquez gets wounded. Lieutenant Gorman goes back to save her, but they end up dying holding a grenade together to take out more aliens because they're trapped. During the escape, Newt gets taken hostage by one of the aliens, or killed, you don't know. Hicks gets acid sprayed on him by killing an alien in the elevator on their way out, so Ripley has to drag him back to the dropship. Bishop wants to leave, but she tells him she has to go back for Newt. This is her moment. This is mom fulfilling her arc. She doesn't want to lose another daughter. The things that moms will do for their kids, even though it's like a day. So now you get the main set piece. Fusion reactor, it's going to explode in a couple hours, and Ripley has to go back and get Newt. And I'm not going to go through this next scene beat by beat, but it's probably one of the most memorable action set pieces in science fiction history. I mean, it really is the perfect crescendo to a movie like this. You got the two moms trying to protect their kids. You got tension building up. You got bitchy attitudes. It's just awesome. And it's the greatest chick fight in history. They threaten each other's children, lots of alien murders. Ripley barely escapes with her life and the kid, by the way. She thinks Bishop abandoned her there, but it turns out he rolls in at the nick of time to get her out before the planet blows up. And then just when they get back to the space, and you think they're out of the thick of things, you see the Queen snuck on board the dropship. She rips Bishop apart and is out for revenge for losing all of her eggs on the planet. So Ripley escapes, gets out of the loading dock room, but Newt has to hide underneath some things, and the Queen's going to kill Newt for revenge. So what does Ripley do? She takes out the loader from earlier and probably says the most memorable line from the 1980s. I would put this hands down up against any Arnie line from this entire decade. Anyways, they throw her out of the airlock, saves the day, everybody goes into cryo sleep, and then the movie ends. Same way the first one started, same way this first one went, same way the first one ends, the second one does the same. So yeah, we had a brief period in the 80s and the 90s where people had started to mash genres up into whole new movies, and it reinvigorated Hollywood. This was an action movie mashed up with a horror movie with science fiction elements thrown in, and it was awesome. The song they used during this action scenes in here was so good, they stole it for the next 20 years and used it in every action movie ever, until Inception's Bwah tune came out. I don't know, man. I just love it, and there's no way you don't. And I'm not talking in the ironic way that people watch The Room or Mystery Science Theater 3000 where everybody laughs at the bad acting. I mean sincerely love it. In the same way you have comic books creating wonderful stories in a world that still has sophisticated novels, in the way that you have fun, action-packed indie games in a world of billion-dollar AAA consumer products, you have a mid-budget science fiction horror action film mashed up together. And it's one of the best science fiction movies of the 80s and 90s. It's the pinnacle of a light, intense, and tension-building action movie with great effects. It keeps you engaged with the tricks and the tactics of storytelling, and it's entertained people since before the written word. So enjoy it, because I damned well did. Cheers, fellas.